I woke up in the middle of the night only to look down my hallway and see the ghost of a little girl staring back at me.
Hi Crypt Keepers, thank you for tuning into AmysCrypt. I'm so excited about today's video because this is probably one of the most requested things you guys have asked me to talk about, and that is my first ever paranormal experience. And in talking about this, I'm also going to answer a couple of the questions that I always get asked the most, such as, have you ever seen a ghost? And how did you get into the paranormal? So it's very exciting for me. Now, because I am looking forward to this video so much, and you guys have been so kind to me lately, I've really been feeling the love. I thought I'd do something that would give back to you all a little bit. So I have a bunch of really cool AmysCrypt stickers, and I'm going to do a little giveaway over on my Instagram. So head over there, you can find me at AmysCrypt. Go follow me if you do not already, and then all you have to do is find the post where I talk about these stickers, leave me a comment letting me know whether you do or do not believe in ghosts. You can enter from anywhere in the world. I'm going to pick 10 people at random and post you out some stickers. And I thought that would be really nice because, I don't know, I just think they're so cute. Now, before I get stuck into really talking about this experience of mine, I do just want to reiterate to you guys that I am a skeptic, and you've probably heard me say this a lot in my videos. I'm still skeptical of the paranormal. I really believe that if the paranormal is real, then experiences like the one I'm about to share with you guys are extremely rare. It's not something that just happens all the time. And this is a huge part of what I do. I go out and I look for proof, I look for evidence. Obviously, if you've been following me for a while, you've seen me travel to a lot of the most haunted places all around the world. And what is funny is I am still looking for an experience as real as the one that I had. It's kind of ironic. It's like when you go looking for it, it doesn't happen, but when you're not looking for it, it comes to you. Now, this story starts a couple of years ago when Jared was offered a job in San Francisco. Now, we were both currently living in Adelaide, South Australia, and on a little bit of a whim, we got married so that I could get a visa and moved over there. And I realized how dodgy that sounds, but we're legit. Anyway, when we got there, we started looking for a place to live. And we actually found the perfect place, which is a difficult feat in San Francisco, super expensive there. But we found an apartment that was in, you know, the classic Victorian houses of San Francisco. This place was built in the late 1800s. It was just beautiful and it was perfect for us. So we moved in and we absolutely loved the place. Nothing felt off about it, nothing felt creepy, weird, odd, strange. Nothing weird happened at all. And that is not until a couple of months down the line when my parents came over to visit us. And naturally, coming all the way from Australia, they wanted to spend a decent amount of time in San Francisco to see us, so we put them up in our apartment. Naturally as well, we said, you guys have the bed, we're gonna go sleep on the fold-out couch in the family room. And our fold-out couch was actually pretty wicked, so it wasn't a problem at all. After about a week of my folks being in that bed and us sleeping on the couch, I had this really weird experience. And it was so weird because I woke up in the middle of the night. We went to bed as normal, nothing odd or peculiar, out of the ordinary. I fell straight asleep. When I woke up, I don't know what triggered me to, because I wasn't thirsty, hungry, I didn't need to pee, I wasn't restless. There was no reason for me really to wake up, and it must have been about 3 a.m. But when I did, I looked down the hallway and I could see a little girl standing there just staring at me. I didn't really have time to react. Like, you'd think maybe you'd be scared, you'd think, what the heck? Who is this child? How did they get in my house in the middle of the night? Where are their parents? I didn't think any of that when I very first saw her. All I did was rub my eyes, kind of maybe in disbelievement, I don't know. But the second I opened my eyes back up, she was gone. And the way that I describe it to people is almost as if you're switching off a light switch. It was that instant, she was just gone. She was out of there. And I also felt no fear over her, as if she was visiting me. I know it's kind of weird when you think about it, some kid standing there watching you sleep, but I didn't feel scared at all. There was no fear there at all. After that, I didn't really know what to do. Everyone was asleep, so I was like, oh, whatever, I'll just go back to sleep myself. But then the next morning, I kind of got excited about it and I told everyone, especially Jared. I was like, Jared, I think our house is haunted. I'm pretty sure I saw a ghost last night. And everyone was like, wow, what the hell? Like, tell us about it. And the conclusions that we kind of drew was maybe I was in a sleep state, woke up and just saw this little girl. Jared was kind of excited about it too, and he was all like, oh, tell me what she looks like, tell me everything. And then I was like, nah. I thought that it might be best if I didn't tell anyone what she looked like. If anybody else ever saw this little girl, we could kind of compare notes and say, this is, you know, what she looks like. And then at least that way it's a little bit more scientific, I guess. I don't know. So this crazy thing happened. I saw a little girl in my apartment in the middle of the night. It was weird, but I kind of was like, oh, could it have been a dream? It seemed so real, more real than a dream. And I've definitely had sleep paralysis before, which feels real also, very scary might I add, but it didn't feel the same as that. It just felt like there was somebody there. And she was so clear. It was clear as day seeing this little girl. Then a couple of other things started to happen that tie into seeing this little girl that makes the story even more compelling. So the first one, and stick with me here because it gets a little bit weird and I have an even more compelling story after this one, happened just a couple of days after seeing the girl. We took my parents out for dinner in San Francisco, and if you're from San Francisco, just so you can visualize, after dinner we were walking back home to the Mission District from the Castro along Market Street, and this odd man came up to my dad and he seemed a little bit flustered and he seemed a little bit scared. He asked if he could walk with us, and we were like, oh, sure, okay. And I think that the reason that he did that was he had some kind of confrontation or altercation with another group of guys while on the street, and he was a little bit scared that he was going to get attacked or something. But we were like, whatever, you can walk with us, sure thing, like hopefully nothing happens, but you know. So we're walking along with him and he was a little bit eccentric, but I just decided to strike up some sort of conversation and talk to him. And I have no idea how the conversation led to this. And it was quite a short talk as well, but he said to me, something weird happened to you recently in your home. And the only thing I could think of, because it was still kind of fresh on my mind, was, oh yeah, the little girl. So I said to him, oh yeah, I seen the ghost of a little girl in my apartment in the middle of the night. You know, as you say to these strange random men that you just met on the street. But he just ran with it and he told me, oh, you weren't scared, were you? And you know, this isn't going to be the last time that this type of experience happens to you. And I didn't really know what to make of it. I was like, oh, cool. Like, I would be down to see her again or see another ghost if that even is what it is. And then we got to a fork in the road and he was going this way, we were going that way, so we said goodbye and I never seen that guy again. The next thing that happened is where this story starts to get super compelling to me. So there was one conversation. I had returned home with Jared for Christmas. We came back home to Australia and it was Christmas at my mum's house. We were all sitting at the back. Jared's parents were over, so my husband's parents were there. We're sitting with them and we're talking, and this was kind of around the time where I had just started to develop the concept for AmysCrypt. So I had just started my blog and I was thinking about starting a YouTube channel, but as you guys know, I was super scared and afraid to be on camera, so that was a little bit stalled. We were talking and saying, oh yeah, Amy's mum bought us tickets to go on this ghost investigation at some abandoned insane asylum for the criminally insane here in Adelaide. And Jared's dad turns to us and says, oh, I would never go to something like that. I wouldn't like to do it. Naturally, we're interested, so we ask, oh, why? And he says, I don't like things like that because sometimes I see dead people. And so naturally it comes out as well. This is something we've never spoken about or never really heard about from him, and he's not someone who is just pulling our leg. I totally believe everything that he says. So we go, oh, like, what do you mean? And his example actually was, oh, well, you know, when we stayed with you in San Francisco, because they stayed a couple of months after my parents stayed, I saw a little girl in your apartment. And I was just in shock. I was like, wait, what? Like, you saw a little girl in our apartment? I saw a little girl in our apartment. Really excited, so obviously asking him a ton of questions, and it turns out that he saw a little girl in the hallway, the exact same place that I saw her, while he was sitting on our couch. So he was sitting in the area that I would have been sleeping, where my head would have been. And when he described her, it sounded like the exact same girl, guys. It was nuts. And what's even more compelling about this was we'd never spoken really about this little girl to anyone. So it's not like I felt the idea was planted in his head or anything. And we never really spoken about ghosts or anything supernatural or weird like that. It just kind of came up because we were talking about starting Amy's Crypt and the concept behind it, and then it just led into this. It was crazy. Now you guys probably are wondering, okay, did you ever see this little girl again? Did anything else happen in your haunted house? I was there for 3 years and I did not see her again. I saw her the one time and that was it. That being said, we did have a couple of other weird things happen while we were in the apartment, where things would kind of move around on their own, and things even moved on the bedside table while we were in bed together. Nothing ever scary, nothing ever felt off or bad or wrong about the apartment. I think if there was a spirit there, it was nice. I used to come home and talk to her all the time. Not when Jared was around, because Jared already thinks I'm weird enough. He used to travel a lot, so I'd come home and say things like, "Hi, I'm home. How was your day?" You know, she's probably just going about ghost things or whatever. But yeah, I did try to look into the history of the home. It's pretty old. As I said, it dates back to the 1800s. And I couldn't really find anything substantial that kind of made sense. I do know that the back part of our apartment was built on sometime in the 80s. So where we had seen the little girl standing was kind of the edge of the original part of the house from the like 1800s. So I always felt like she was kind of standing at the edge of the house, looking out at a different time at us sitting in this newer renovated area of the house, if that even makes sense. Another thing is that I'm a little bit honestly disappointed in myself because I never investigated that house. And the reason I didn't was because I didn't really start investigating or get heavy into Amy's Crypt until towards the end of our time in San Francisco. So as I said, when we came home for that Christmas was when we were developing the concept and the idea of it. And then by the time we went back, we had just quit our jobs. We were selling literally every single thing that we owned. We were breaking lease on the apartment, getting that filled, and then leaving to travel out of a backpack for 12 months straight. So there was a lot of stress and planning, and honestly investigating whether I had a ghost in my apartment that I was about to leave was like the last thing on my mind. But something that is cool is a mate of ours in San Francisco is actually living in the apartment right now. So if I ever go back to the States, which I kind of plan to hopefully soon, but we'll see, I'm hoping that he would let us crash there a night or two and maybe conduct some kind of investigation or film a video. That would be really, really cool. And I haven't spoken to him in a while, so I don't actually know if they've had any paranormal experiences living there, but that would be interesting to note as well. I was never a believer at all, or even really thought about ghosts that much before I had that experience and I saw that little girl. And ever since, I've been obsessed, if you couldn't already tell. So there you guys have it. My first paranormal experience. I am so keen to know what you guys think about all of this. Do you think that I saw the ghost of a little girl in my apartment? Do you think that maybe it was something else that caused me to see it? Do you think I've lost my mind? Or maybe you've had something similar happen to you. Maybe you can relate to me, and in that case I would really, really love to hear about it. So please drop me a comment below. If you guys did enjoy this video though, please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. That really helps me out and keeps me moving on producing more content for you guys. If you want to do a bit more reading on any of the haunted places that I have visited, head to AmysCrypt.com. You guys can also follow me at AmysCrypt on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Remember, if you guys want a sticker, go to my Instagram now. Go follow me, leave me that comment, and maybe you'll get one. Thanks for watching, Crypt Keepers. Until next time.